We owned a family business. It was a travel store here in town for 40 years. My mom had a good idea, and her idea was to supply the traveler with everything they need in one spot. We kind of went out with a little more of a thud than a whimper, and so I think it was sort of a message from the universe that maybe this wasn't my path anymore, and that there was something new for me to do that I was meant to do. This is the same as the book. I want you to start in on this, everybody. Being a new teacher, it's why I have my gray hair and my lines on my face. It's challenging, but it's also incredibly invigorating and rewarding. Unlike my past business career.
John Holloway is embarking on his second act. He's teaching 4th through 6th graders at the California Montessori Project's American River campus. Not only has it given him a new lease on life, it's also filling a need.
There's definitely a demand for teachers out there. There's a demand for quality teachers. There was a time a few years ago where I would receive hundreds of applications for just a handful of jobs. And now within the last couple of years, I'm receiving 30, 50, 70 applications for the same handful of jobs.
There is such a teacher shortage in California right now. We have a lot of teachers retiring, and post-recession, people are now able to afford to retire. And so there's a huge shortage in California. And with that shortage, it's really built intern programs.
Linda Liebert is the director of the teacher intern program run by the Sacramento County Office of Education. The 2-year program provides a non-traditional pathway to the classroom for people like John Holloway. After 160 hours of prerequisite classes, the interns are hired as full teachers. They spend the week teaching, and on Saturdays they take classes to earn their credential.
Of the 120 we have right now in our program, probably 80% are second careers. They're burnt out from being out there in corporate America. They're not feeling fulfilled anymore. They're feeling that there's not a purpose. And so a lot of them bring those talents into teaching, and they feel like they're actually serving and making a difference.
Even if you've had the best week of your life, it's been a tough week because teaching is hard.
Our interns, and especially our second career interns, are juggling many things and giving up their Saturdays, but they really see great value in the time because the things that we're doing are applicable. And I think that's one of the strengths of this program, is that immediate application and that immediate feedback for them in the midst of the work that they're doing.
Interns also get immediate feedback in the classroom in the form of a teaching coach that visits twice a month. Coach Phil Romag is a former principal and teacher who helps interns hone their skills.
And if they know that you're they never know where you're going to be, but they always know that you're aware of what's going on.
Right.
John is a great new teacher. He's excellent at what he does. He has skills that he does not know that he has, as far as his calmness and his demeanor and his respect for the students. He is a business person. In teaching, it's a little bit different. It's not dollars and cents. It's how the kids are growing and moving along a continuum.
Sharon Farrell and John Nagan are also second career teachers in the Sacramento County Intern Program. They're both spending their first year teaching at Natomas Charter School, where John teaches biology and health and Sharon teaches chemistry.
Before I was a teacher, I worked in molecular virology, which always has everyone make this sort of like ooh expression. I worked for UCSF at a research institute. We actually were on the campus of San Francisco General Hospital, and I was researching HIV. After I left molecular biology, I stayed at home to raise my children, and I thought, I can combine those two loves. So I decided teaching science was where I wanted to be. It's more complex than just one thing. So make sure
I really enjoy this class. It's very hands-on. It's not all paperwork, which I've been in a lot of science classes that have been like that. Ms. Farrell's a really, really good teacher, and it's an organized classroom too. So yeah, we may get a bit out of hand, but she does tend to keep us in order, so she's a great teacher.
I think that especially as an older person, the kids, I think they think of me almost as a mother figure, so they feel confident in me right from the start, even though I'm a new teacher. And I have enough confidence to say straight up to them, look, we're new, we're doing this together. I'm a brand new teacher this year, and we're all going to learn together. We're going to see where it comes out, and if it's not where we thought we'd be, we're going to start over and try a different tack.
Across the hall from Sharon Farrell's chemistry lab is John Negan's classroom. His students were surprised to learn that their teacher is a retired military officer who spent nearly 30 years in the Army.
I thought he was a college professor before, just like, there's just something about him that's just so like official, and he's very knowledgeable, but I had absolutely no idea that he was in the military. That just kind of makes me think higher of him. Like now he's just like even more of an official and like more of a person to look up to.
As an Army officer, a lot of your job is about teaching and training young soldiers as individuals and teams. And I really enjoyed that aspect of the Army. That's one of the best things about the military. Maybe a lot of people don't think about that, but you have a tremendous opportunity to impact young people. I think it's actually a fairly normal transition to go from serving in the military to going back into a classroom and teaching at a lot of different levels. You're responsible for their lives, literally, in the military. And in teaching, you're responsible for their academic life and their growth academically. And that's a tremendous responsibility that you can't take lightly, and you have to be all in.
As an added challenge, teacher interns at certain charter schools are not only learning how to teach, they're learning a very specific style of teaching. For former business owner John Holloway, that means taking intensive Montessori training classes on top of his credential classes.
In the Montessori model, students are asked to do more self-directing on their own, and the students take more ownership of their learning. You have to then monitor multiple students doing multiple things at the same time, so the skill set's different. In a regular traditional classroom, it might be more of, I'm just going to do this one thing with all these kids and have them all try and do really well.
I guess the most difficult thing is trying to melt the two types of teaching that I'm learning, and being in charge of 21 lives is an awesome responsibility, and you have to have the commitment to match that responsibility.
They just want to remember to be kind to themselves. We know that they're new teachers coming in, and a lot of times they will have very high standards for themselves based on their success in their previous field. They just need to give themselves that time to grow in this new field just like they did in their previous successful profession.